I love this guy. I mean, and he was like, you know, there's a lot of people that are like fucking drug dealers or whatever. Like my friend Eddie called me last week and he watched the Pablo Escobar thing, and he was like, that guy was brilliant. He was a fucking drug dealer, but he was a genius. You know, there's a lot of people that just because they're criminals or whatever doesn't mean they're intelligent. They're not intelligent. These guys could run a Fortune 500 CEO better than these fucking morons with their fucking master's degree and all this shit. They do it from fucking scratch. And this was one of these guys. Juan was one of these guys that, even though he was kind of fucked up, good looking guy, always dressed nice, the whole thing, he was a businessman. So the first thing he did was he bought a flower shop. You know, when he got out of parole, he bought a flower shop on 57th and Hudson in New Jersey. And again, in the summers, who do you think had to work with him? Me. I had to go over there, get the roses. We'd de-stem fucking roses at 4 in the morning. And then he'd sell them at the flower shop. But then he came with a better idea. He goes, Doug, what if we get dozens of roses and sell them on the street corners in New York? Not to mention, I could take numbers. People could drop by my other bookies and drop off the action to me. And when I drive back into Jersey, I got everything done for the day. This motherfucker in 74 started selling roses on all the streets in New York. He had a couple fucking Cuban guys, myself, we're out there selling roses, taking numbers. It was beautiful. I mean, that's the kind of system, that's the mind this guy had. And with that money, he bought a butcher shop. And the butcher shop was successful also. Guess who had to work the butcher shop? I got a bunch of fucking cuts on my hand from cutting meat and not even knowing. That's what he did. And the whole time he had the numbers operation, but he had the butcher shop, he was really trying to go legit. And the other thing was, he was really trying to be my dad. He had a daughter from a previous marriage and they fucked up with the jail time. So this guy was really trying to be my dad. He was involved. He was more involved than my mom. My mom was a woman that should have really been a man. She ran that fucking bar by herself. My mom would fucking open it, close it. She was the doorman, the bartender. You know, that was my mom's style. When you're a fucking immigrant and you come here in the 50s and you got nothing, you work 92 fucking hours a day. That's what you do. And that's what she did. Even though they took the numbers and they sold heroin, they did a bunch of shit, but they still fucking worked. You know, that was the main thing. They were trying to go legit. My stepdad more than my mom. My mom had the bar and she didn't give a fuck. She had money and she kept, shit was happening at the bar. It was 74, 75, there were traces of cocaine starting to come up. And once cocaine started to come up, that really spooked the fuck out of Juan. Juan didn't like drugs by no means. Reefer, if he smelled reefer, he would have a fucking heart attack. He would have, oh, look at these fucking Americans getting weak. Wait till the Russians come over and fuck them in the ass. That's what he would say. That was his claim to fame. He said, Russians give these motherfuckers weed. So when they come over here in 30 years, all these kids will be sucking their dicks. That was his fucking mentality. And you really gotta add it to him. He's fucking right sometimes. He's like, look at this fucking moron with, you know, he was one of those guys. So he hated that fucking bar. And here he is trying to go legit with all this shit. And at night, I would listen to him and my mom talking. And he would tell my mom, dog, stop with that bar, sell the bar, there's gonna be problems. I don't have to be a genius to tell you there's gonna be problems. That white powder is a motherfucker. And my mom did blow. My mom always did blow. Even in the fucking, when I was a kid, I knew they would always scratch her nose and she would have little rings and I'd say, Mom, wipe your fucking nose, all right? You're embarrassing me, we're at school. You know, whatever the fuck. So it was fucked up that he lived in this house that he was against everything. But he loved my mother so much that I had grown up together. And he loved me, you know, I kept him grounded. He taught me all these things, like when we go to work in the mornings, he would never just pull up at work. He'd go there a half hour early and drive around and make sure there was no cops around or no unusual cars. Then he'd park his car. And I mean, he had a system for everything. He was very intelligent, very precise. You know, he kept his mouth shut. Everything about him was, I learned so much from him at this time. And one night I went to karate, right? I was a fucking nerd, guys. I was a fucking nerd. And once Bruce Lee came out, I became Karate Man. I used to have the sandals with the Kung Fu outfit, and I'd bow in the mornings, and I'd only eat rice for breakfast. They were like, what the fuck is going on with this kid, you know? So they didn't know, but I was really into it. I behaved myself at that time. I was a good kid. My life was school and karate, and I wanted to be, I had the new Chucks. You know, now you motherfuckers got iPhones. When I was a kid, we had new Chucks, motherfucker. Everybody walked around with black and blues on their elbows and a lump on their head from practicing. Everybody would walk a little different. What's wrong, dog? No, I hit my head with a new Chuck last week. All that shit. So I used to go to this Cuban judo school on 7th Street. And I knew that he would go down there on Wednesday nights and play baccarat. They would play cards. And one night I went to judo, and as I'm coming out, I see 4 cops with their uniforms talking and a detective, like they're talking about something. And I made a mental note, and I got on the bus, And I went back home, and as I was get home, he's getting dressed. And I go, where you going? He goes, I'm going to play cards tonight. I go, dog, you should stay home tonight. And he goes, why? And I go, nothing. He thought I was like, because I would always say to him, stay home, on Wednesdays. Let's get Christy Love. There was a show we both liked. We get ice cream. And this night he goes, no, I got to go play cards. I got to get my money back from last week. And I go, dog, don't go down there. I seen cops down there. And he goes, you're just paranoid. So he got in his car, he left. About 20 minutes later, he comes back with like fucking ham and cheese. And he goes, I thought about what you said. I'm going to stay home with you. The next morning, he wakes me up. He goes, look at the paper. There was a fucking raid down there. Thank you. He goes, finally, I taught you something. You got eyes. He goes, you got fucking street eyes now. I'm proud of you, He goes, I'm proud of you. You saved my life last night. Let's go do something. And he was just, he didn't want me to be a criminal, guys. He always helped me with homework. He always stayed on me. He was always into that. And you know what? There comes a point in your life when you're a boy, a young man, like 11 or 12, that our fathers become ball busters. Dog, what? Why is the light on in here? What, are you related to Con Edison? Turn the fucking lights off. Oh, what's this can of soda? What, we related to the soda people? You got 3 cans here. You opened 3 fucking cans. You didn't finish them. Drink your fucking soda. Hey, what? Your underwear's on the floor? Pick it up, bitch. You got a fucking maid here. Guys, these are things that are right. He's fucking right. But when we're 11, fuck you. Mama do it. Why should I fucking do it? I ain't doing no fucking dishes. And he would always go, someday I'm gonna be gone and your mother's gonna be gone. You're gonna have to fucking wash those dishes. Fuck that, you guys ain't dying. You're a bad motherfucker. You just shot a guy in 148 last week. So it was just fucking amazing. He would stay on me,